Good morning and welcome to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. The new year, of course, is a time when people make resolutions. Many are focused on quitting old habits and beginning new ones, whether it's to quit smoking, eat healthier, or get into shape. If your New Year's resolution is to quit smoking, or maybe you've already tried and given up, my first guests are here to inspire you and give you lots of great information to help you accomplish your goal. Donna Winninsky is the Director of Public Policy and Communications for the American Lung Association in Wisconsin, and right beside her is Keran Farrell, a former smoker who is now a Freedom from Smoking Facilitator. Hello and welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I appreciate you both being here. And Donna, if you would, start off telling us more about the American Lung Association and how you serve the public.
Well, I think you touch on a very important point in your introduction. We do a lot with smoking cessation, and Keran will be able to tell you more about that in just a moment. We help people quit smoking, teenagers, adults, but we also work very, very hard to prevent kids in particular from starting to smoke. If you never start, you never have to worry about quitting.
Right.
So tobacco control is a very important part of what we do. We also do a lot of work in clean air, clean indoor air, clean outdoor air, making sure that the air you're breathing is healthy. For people who have lung disease, air quality has a huge impact on their symptoms, how they feel, how they're able to function on a day-to-day basis. Lots of education. We work on the advocacy field to pass laws that improve air quality. So virtually anything that helps people breathe easier, we touch on it at the Lung Association.
Yeah, and I was one of those people when they came up with the law that you just could not smoke in restaurants and inside certain places. I know there were people who were just kind of like, what? But I was like thrilled, because secondhand smoke is really a serious scenario. And looking at statistics, it shows that tobacco use itself causes over 392,000 deaths each year, and that kills more people every year than HIV, illegal drugs, alcohol, car crashes, suicides, and murders combined. That's pretty major. And then another 50,000 people actually die from exposure to secondhand smoke. So it's important that, like you said, you are there to make sure everyone is able to live and breathe the clean air.
And that's why that clean air law was so important in Wisconsin and throughout the country, because if you figure you're an employee working in a place of employment like that for 8 to 10 hours a day, and you're breathing in everybody else's secondhand smoke, you might as well just be smoking a couple of packs of cigarettes yourself.
Wow. And with that said, there's some important information regarding tobacco control that people should be aware of in 2014. Let's talk a little bit about that as well.
Well, January has been a big month for tobacco control. First of all, a lot of the regulations with the Affordable Care Act have kicked in. One of those is that insurers can charge a higher premium for a smoker just because of they're more susceptible to more illnesses. They take more sick days, they have more symptoms that need to be addressed. So one of the things in the Affordable Care Act is that smokers can be charged more for their health insurance. We're hoping that that financial incentive might be what pushes some people over the edge and says, okay, that's it, I'm going to sign up for Keran's class here and quit smoking once and for all.
Yeah.
We also just had the recent 50th anniversary of the first report from the Surgeon General, and that was the one that really got the ball rolling, that said, okay, yeah, smoking is directly linked to lung cancer, COPD, other diseases. So that was a big anniversary. Some new smoking statistics came out of the Centers for Disease Control. So this has been a very busy month in terms of tobacco control.
Gotcha. And those are important things. And there are insurance companies that are charging that higher premium. And we thought that maybe packs of cigarettes going up to $12 to $15 and $16 would stop people, but people are still buying packs of cigarettes and just doing what they have to do financially.
And that's where Keran is going to address the really addictive
I don't want to
nature.
forget you are sitting over there. I mean, you've been so gracious to join us today and share your story. And she was just talking about how part of the goal with the American Lung Association is to stop young people from picking up that first cigarette. You actually actually started smoking in high school, and you watched your father smoke and your grandfather. So it wasn't kind of like, you know, something bad. It was almost like, you know, it happens. It's just a thing.
I think it goes along with the invincibility of youth.
Yeah.
You know, you're 17 and 18 and, hey, I can smoke a couple here and a pack here and a pack there, and I'll just quit when I don't feel like smoking anymore.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you're 27 years old and you're still doing at least a pack a day. Probably, I think I was up to about a pack and a half a day.
Wow.
And with my first child on the way, and it just, you know, you get into it. It doesn't take long to get hooked. It becomes, nicotine is so addicting, and it becomes a behavioral pattern. It's an associative thing. I have a cigarette with my coffee. I have a cigarette first thing of the day. I have a cigarette right after my meal, and it tastes so good.
When my boss stresses me out, you know, stuff like that. Yeah.
And it becomes a condition of, okay, I have to smoke here, I have to smoke here, I have to smoke here, and pretty soon it adds up to 20 cigarettes a day, and that's, you know, and then it just snowballs. So.
It's interesting, and I said that you were sharing your story. Your father had a heart attack, and he survived the first heart attack, and then he quit smoking. And at that time, with your first child on the way, he asked you specifically to stop smoking for your child, and that really had an impact on you.
He never asked me for anything, other than, you know, cut the grass and sweep out the garage, but nothing really major. Nothing, I really need this from you. And when he pulled me aside, and I was literally smoking while he asked me, he said, you've got a child due in 6 months, and I've never asked you for anything, and I just need this one thing from you if you can do it. And I said, yeah, what do you need? He says, I want you to try and quit smoking.
Wow.
And I'm like, I've tried hundreds of times. Well, come on. Anything else? I mean, my right lung, or, you know, I'll give you my left knee or something. Come on. And he said, no, just this one thing, but I want you to take the American Lung Association course. And I want you to sign up for it, and I want you to take it, and I will pay for it for you, but I want you to take the course. And if you quit, great. And if not, that's okay too. But this, I want you to try, because now you've really, really tried. If you can't quit after this, then, you know,
and he's done his job as a parent who's basically trying to save you from going through the same thing that he went through. And unfortunately, your dad had a second heart attack in 1996 and died at the young age of 53. So you really do know the significance of smoking and how it can really end your life early.
And as I get older, I realize how young 53 is.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, 53 is very young.
You're 53. Oh, 53.
Yeah, when you're 20, that feels like, God,
now
you're such a geezer.
Like, wow, 53 is really soon.
Yeah, it's around the corner. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, and I think that's a great thing that your father left you with, letting you know that he cared enough for you and your family to have you do something that he was able to accomplish, and that's to quit smoking.
Absolutely.
So thank you for sharing that. And I'm interested in knowing, for those people, I don't smoke, I've never smoked, but there are people who have tried and tried again and tried again. What are some of the things that you notice once you put down that cigarette? The first thing you notice when you do a compare and contrast?
I think I learned a lot taking the class, and I learned that nicotine is out of your system within 72 hours.
Wow.
So if you can get through those first 3 days, and those first 3 days are awful. They are, because you are solely focused on smoking, and you're like, I gotta have one, oh, I gotta quit, and that's all you're thinking about for 3 days. But if you know that nicotine is out of your system in 3 days, after that, it really becomes behavioral. So you change the things you do. So when you wake up in the morning, maybe you skip the cup of coffee because you know that with the coffee comes a cigarette. So, you know, your brain, what am I gonna do with this hand? Because I drink coffee and I smoke with this one, or vice versa.
Yeah.
But what's this hand supposed to do now? Well, I'm gonna read the paper. I'm gonna keep both hands busy, and I'm gonna skip the coffee. And it just becomes, you have to change the way you look at your life, and you have to change how you think of yourself, because now you're no longer a smoker. And for a lot of smokers, it seems so insurmountable, because you're thinking, who am I if I don't smoke? everybody knows, oh yeah, John, he's a smoker, he smokes, and he loves this brand, and he does this many, he smokes this much a day, or whatever. And suddenly you're becoming like, who will I be?
You'll be a little richer, that's
Absolutely,
for sure.
absolutely.
You put that money possibly in a jar and see how much money you're able to save.
You're just changing some basic behaviors. But the things I did notice very soon afterward, food tasted better. I mean, you normally don't think like, wow, this pizza tastes really good today. I started sleeping better because I could breathe better. And your senses are heightened because cigarettes really do dull your smell, your taste, a lot of it. And one of the nicest things was that my house I no longer smelled like smoke.
Yeah.
Felt really good.
And it's like interesting because people that smoke don't realize that they smell like smoke. And you know, I say to people all the time, like, have you been smoking? And they're like, can you smell it? I'm like, yeah.
It smelled like 30 feet away. Thanks.
And Donna, with everything that Keran just told us, the American Lung Association, you're actually in the middle of your Quitter and You campaign, which is geared specifically to people who have tried to quit smoking, but they've actually failed. How is this campaign helping those individuals?
Well, I think that's the key message in the Quitter and You campaign. You could have tried 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 times and failed. And the slogan is never quit trying to quit, because the next time is going to be the magic time for you. And if not then the next time after that. So we have a website. It's just very simply quitterinyou.org.
Okay.
And you can also get information from our toll-free helpline, which is 1-800-LUNG-USA. And the Quitter and You is specifically for people who just feel like they can't.
Yeah.
You know, talk to somebody, get some new resources, you know, try a different approach. Yeah. Never quit trying to quit.
Never quit. And that's with anything in life, really.
Right.
So that's quitterinyou.org or call 1-800-LUNG-USA. And Keran, as a freedom from smoking facilitator, what role do you play? I think it has to be very helpful for someone who is a smoker who's trying to quit to hear from someone who's been there and done that, as opposed to somebody like me who goes, smoking's gross, and you're going, okay, but you've never done it, you know? So.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of credibility when I stand up in front of people and say, look, I know what you're feeling. I really, really do. And I know, you know, as soon as you make up your mind to quit, you're going to be cranky and grumpy and short-tempered and short-fused with everyone. It's okay, because you'll get this out of your system eventually. And the thing about the Freedom from Smoking program and having somebody like myself in front of the group is that you look around and you realize there's 10, maybe 14 other people in the room who couldn't do it either. And that's very reassuring, because sometimes you're out there by yourself and you say, okay, I'm going to quit 2014, new year, I'm going to quit, and you just feel very alone. But when you're in a room with 10 other people who, I can't quit either. Nope, I couldn't. I tried. Nope, I couldn't do it. It's very reassuring and very comforting. So it's a good place to be.
I love that. And people can call the 1-800-LUNG-USA to get more information on how they can become a part of a group like that and have that support group. And if you just at first you don't succeed, try again. That's a true to life scenario there. And speaking of resolutions for the new year, Donna, a lot of people say they want to get fit. Of course, and whether you smoke or not, you guys have a great event that's all about fitness and personal health, and it's coming up real soon. Tell us more about the 2014 Fight for Air Climb.
It's March 22nd. It's coincidental that we're talking about both of these programs because our main sponsor for the Fight for Air Climb is the same as the Quitter and You program. That's Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. Our message is all about healthy lungs. Theirs is about the total healthy body message, being fit, eating right, exercising, you know, keeping your lungs healthy, but everything else too. And this is the 6th annual Fight for Air Climb. It's at the U.S. Bank Center. We're very, very proud of the fact that out of all of the Fight for Air climbs around the nation, and there are a lot of them, a lot of lung associations doing these climbs, we are the #1 climb in the nation, both in terms of the number of participants, but also in terms of the amount of money we raise. And this is over cities like Denver and Boston and really big places. And
love positive numbers, because we talk about a lot of negative numbers on
much
the
fun.
show.
It's
Yeah.
so much fun, and it's 1,034 steps. It sounds daunting, but you know what? The last
Say that again.
1,034
Oh, okay.
steps.
I was hoping it was 134.
I'll make it up 50. Okay.
Last year, the age range was the youngest was 7, the oldest was 77.
Wow.
So you just
They would
take
put me
it
to
at your
shame. A
pace.
77-year-old was actually taking 1,000 stairs.
1,034 steps, and you just
And
take it at your own pace.
If I'm correct, we've talked about this in the past. You have firefighters who have on their
firefighters
full
and their full
equipment
gear.
going up those stairs.
And we're talking 50 to 75 extra pounds.
So nobody has an excuse, really. And it doesn't matter how long it takes for you to get up the stairs. Doesn't matter if you get up to maybe the 3rd floor and you decide to take the elevator back down. At least you tried, right?
Yep, or
Okay.
you can just take a break. We have water stops every 5 floors or so. So you stop and you have a cup of water, you give yourself a rest, and then maybe you can tackle the next 5 until the next water stop. I mean, you
I
can
always
go
tease
wherever
you.
you want, but yes, you take the elevator down.
Yeah, I tease you and say, okay, just have me a cot on about the 5th floor and we'll be all good. So I just really appreciate you both for coming by today. Just to reiterate, the 2014 Fight for Air Climb is happening March 22nd, and you can go online to fightforairclimb.org.
That's right.
Or you can call 262-703-4200.
That's
I
correct.
appreciate you being here today. Great information, guys. And of course, Donna Winninsky is the Director of Public Policy and Communications with the American Lung Association in Wisconsin. And Keran Farrell, he is actually a Freedom from Smoking Facilitator. You can again call them at 1-800-LUNG-USA or log on to lung.org for more information on anything that we've discussed today. When we return to our Issues Milwaukee, we'll talk more about the lung disease asthma that makes breathing difficult for millions of Americans, both young and old. We'll also meet a local doctor who's providing, or a local respiratory therapist who's providing a program to help improve the quality of life for those suffering from asthma. We're going to find out more about that and a whole lot more right after this.